The Switch 2 finally has a game trying out ray tracing, and it's made by Ubisoft. So let's talk about it. Ever since the Switch 2 was being rumored, there were talks about how Nvidia was working with Nintendo with a specialized chip that was going to have support for DLSS and ray tracing. But then the Switch 2 came out, and Nintendo's first-party games didn't even look like they were touching ray tracing, and neither were any of the other games released with the console. So people wondered if that was even possible. Well, it looks like Ubisoft is going to be the first one to dip their toes in the ray tracing realm with their game Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I'm not here to talk about whether the game was good or not. I'm just here to talk about the ray tracing feature, because it turns out that the game was kind of a mess on PC because of ray tracing. You see, it turns out that on PC, Star Wars Outlaws isn't running very well. And one way that people are trying to make it run better is by removing ray tracing. But it turns out that it looks like ray tracing is actually baked into the way the game functions overall. So when ray tracing gets removed, the game seems to break. And they have found ways to kind of work around it, but it doesn't work flawlessly and it introduces a whole bunch of other issues. So people were thinking that they were going to have to rebuild the game from the ground up if they were releasing it on the Switch 2. But from what the early reviews are saying, the game actually includes the ray tracing and it's running fairly decently at 30 frames a second, but that's really impressive for such a small handheld. So that raises an obvious question. If Ubisoft, who's not known for making the most optimized video games, was able to get ray tracing to work on the Switch 2, what games could include ray tracing? Could you imagine a new Zelda game with ray tracing? What would you like to see? Let me know.